Hello again. I hope you enjoyed the last shot. Today I want to talk a little bit about being fluid with your photography. Generally when I want to shoot, I try not to go out with a preconceived image in my head. I think it's very easy to look at things, maybe be influenced by magazines and books, postcards, calendars, and to see a shot and think, I want to take that shot. The problem is, sometimes you arrive at the destination and the conditions simply aren't right to take that shot. Which means you then have to be a little bit fluid. Generally, if the conditions aren't right, you have three options. The first one being that you take the shot anyway, which probably will end up in disappointment because it won't reflect what you actually had in your mind's eye. The second option is you go home, abandon it, say it's not to be. Or the third option is you try something different. You try to be fluid about what you do. Work with the conditions, never work against them. Whenever you work against the conditions, you'll generally be disappointed with your shots. So work with the light, work with your surroundings, work the landscape. Now for the shot that you've just seen of the Howick Bath House in Northumberland, I was originally going to Northumberland Castle, but as I drove up the coast I could see that the colour was looking quite nice further south of the castle, which would have meant if I'd stuck with plan A and drove up, I probably wouldn't have got anything that I was pleased with. Or by going with plan B, which was to work with the conditions, I managed to get a decent shot, one that I'm happy with, one that I feel is good enough to go on my Northumberland calendar, which is always good. So you may wonder why I'm bringing this up now. Well, you may have noticed that that shot was colour, and up until now every shot which I featured in these videos has been black and white, and there's a simple reason for that. When I first started planning this channel, I decided to take the route of shooting just black and white images for it. This was a decent enough idea. Apart from it meant I couldn't be fluid about what I was shooting, and looking back at the last three videos, I'm thinking to myself that some of the shots simply would have worked better in colour. So I suppose the point I'm trying to make is with this channel I've actually found myself being rigid on my mindset of just shooting black and white and not being fluid at all, which ultimately is totally the opposite of how I approach my photography. I'm always fluid. I can count, well in fact I can't. There's so many times when I've gone out to shoot a scene and ended up shooting something different, and in fact I can probably count the amount of times I've actually set out with an image in mind and taken that image I had in mind. Most of the shots have been fluid images, working with the conditions. And do you know what? The shots that I'm generally more pleased with, the ones which I feel like have lasted the test of time, are images which I've taken which I wasn't planning to take. Images where the light's done something, or the landscape's been slightly different, or the light perhaps hasn't been what I wanted it to be, so I've had to work a little bit harder. And I suppose my chain of thought is the same is going to apply to this channel. So I've decided, and it's quite early on in the life of the channel, so perhaps this is a good time to decide, that I'm going to abandon just shooting black and white. And I'm just going to shoot in a fluid way like I always do, and take images which reflect the conditions and what I'm experiencing at the time. I've considered going back to the last three videos and putting colour versions in. I've decided against it. I think with photography it's good to learn from your mistakes. So if nothing else, the last three videos you have seen are a record of my mistakes. but I'm going to learn from my mistakes. And as I said before, I'm just going to shoot in a fluid motion, and I'm going to shoot images which reflect the conditions. This is not to say that I won't be shooting black and white, because I will. I love black and white. Black and white photography is great. When I first started, all I wanted to do was shoot black and white. But I quickly realised that was restricting myself, so I started shooting colour. And here, 20 years later, I find myself in the same position with my videos. Now obviously with my photography, I've got the benefit of nearly 20 years of working as a pro. Videos, I've got the experience of what, 2 months? So I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, but I'm going to learn from those mistakes. So ironically, this video is about being fluid and also learning from your mistakes and making sure you don't repeat them. So with that, I'm going to say bye, and I'm going to leave you with a selection of my favourite images which I've captured over the last 20 years. And next week's video will be how I take the channel forward, and all of the images may be black and white, but I doubt it. What I will promise you is that the images will reflect the conditions and will be shot in a way that I think make nice images which can stand the test of time alone, not necessarily as part of a video. I suppose I do not want the videos to dictate the kind of shots I take. I want the videos to be of me taking those shots and hopefully sharing some of my knowledge I've learned. So, if you take anything from this video, please let it be to learn from your mistakes and to not be so rigid in thinking what you must photograph. Experiment, work with the conditions, but above all, enjoy yourself. So, if you'd like to see more content featuring colour images, probably some black and white, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, here are some of my favourite shots. Bye.